'cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yo, I got
Lisa's POV. Thank you for taking me home, Jackson, and of course, thank you for the dinner. I said, glaring at him with a very wide smile. It's already past 10 in the evening, and we are still inside of his car in front of the gate of my apartment. Right after he fetched me in Kim's Empire, he drove me to Royals, a fine dining restaurant. I had chicken cordon bleu and an iced tea, while he only had an iced lemon grass tea. He was already full with Daniel, he said. He was very happy. I can still see his eyes popping into a heart shape. He kept on talking about her, and I was very attentive. He was like a teenager who fell in love for the first time. He was beaming. Daniel said that you are prettier in person compared on TV. He uttered, still in a high spirit. His voice took my thoughts into the present. I smiled. Daniel was always quiet when we had our lunch together with Jackson. She was also very shy, soft spoken, and beautiful. Thank you. She is also pretty. I responded shyly. Absolutely. Too bad she is already taken. But I'm still glad I still have her as my friend. He replied, still on his light mode. Yeah, you could be good together as friends, I said, agreeing of his statement. I really wish that we met first before her boyfriend. He said, leaning his back on the driver's seat. It's okay, Jackson. What really matters is that she's happy of who she is with, right? I replied, tapping his shoulder. Yeah, you are right. He nodded, looking my way. She may be not the right girl for you at the moment, but believe me, there is someone who is really meant for you. You are not just a good looking, but you are also a very nice man. I prolonged, I really meant what I said. He was staring at me. Wait, don't move, Jackson said while leaning closer to me. I was confused of his action, but still I obeyed what he said. He slowly touched my cheeks. I blinked my eyes several times out of confusion. There is an eyelash fall on your cheek, he said, removing his hand. He showed me my one strand eyelash in between of his forefinger and his thumb. Oh, okay, thank you. I smiled. He smiled, showing his dimple. He reminded me of Lee Min Ho. Very charming and cute. I hope Mr. Taehyung will be good to you tomorrow, he stated. How I wish, I replied, rolled my eyes. I already told him about my situation with V at Royals. He smiled, full of mischief, but I opted to ignore. He kept on teasing me to V when I told him our ill situation. Thank you again, Jackson, I said as I stepped out of his car. Have a good night, Lisa. I gave him a genuine smile in response. I waved goodbye and waited Jackson's cars to disappear before making my way to my apartment. I saw a car parked in the next block. I'm used to see car parked near in my apartment gate, but this car was unfamiliar and cost a lot of fortune. I made a sound of steel when I opened the gate. I went straight to my apartment door, holding my key to insert its keyhole. Did you enjoy my secretary's kiss? I dropped my keys when suddenly I heard someone spoke in hard tone in my back. I looked at where it came from. My ears adjusted the light that came from the metal halide and served as a lamp post near in my apartment's gate. Then a silhouette movement of a shadow came closer to me, and I saw the person that I least expected to see in my place, Taehyung. He looked dashing, but that moment I was in the right state of mind and chose to ignore him. I raised my keys on tiled floor and continued opening my door. He drew near me. You never change, Manavan. You are the same flirt, status seeker, and a cheap whore, he said in a calm manner. But there was danger on his tone. I arched my brows in irritation. I can't believe that you are here in front of my apartment in this hour just to insult me, Mr. Thehan. I said with my tone full of confidence, without any single hint of fear. I am not the same Lisa who is scared of him 2 years ago. I have grown and learned, Thehan Smith, such a fearless, immoral woman, he said, looking at me, ready to eat me alive. You have no right to disrespect me, V. You are in my jurisdiction, I said, tilting my head, looking at him bold. He looks at me for a moment. I didn't wait for his response. I pushed my door to end our conversation. Don't turn your back on me, he speaks sharply, holding my arms, stopping me to open the door. You have no right to insult in my own home. Will you leave me alone? I said with a fearless tone. I don't have any plans to argue with him. I feel so exhausted after scanning and printing those documents. I went into my apartment and closed the door, but his strong arm stopped me. He pushed the door, and the next thing I knew, he was inside in my apartment. I hurriedly turned on the lights. To what I owe this unfortunate visit of Mr. Kim Tae-hung, I said, full of sarcasm, looking at him uninterestingly. I am here for one reason, he said, closing the door behind me. I'm expecting a flooding insult, say it, I uttered in response. He stared at me. Hatred were no longer on his eyes. I felt strange. I felt a cold flush all over me. But I felt a sweat on palms at the same time. He was silent for a fleeting moment. I don't like entertaining visitor right now, sir. Can you tell me what do you want so you could go home and I can rest? I said, looking at him, wandering his eyes in my apartment. I want you to stop working in my company. I shrugged my shoulder. I was not shocked of his declaration. Sure, expect my resignation tomorrow. Anything else? I asked with sarcasm. I already expect that this was going to happen. He looks at me. His eyes were expressing different under his eyelid. His hands were under his pocket. He slowly walked closer towards me while his eyes were on me, not leaving even a single second. How much? I heard him asking me. How much what? In irritating tone, I asked him with my brows furrowed. How much you are asking for a one night stand? He asked roughly.